You ate a perfectly normal meal, nothing crazy, nothing heavy, and within the hour, it starts. That slow, pressure-building bloat that makes your waistband feel 2 sizes too small. The brain fog that rolls in like a storm front, making it impossible to think, to focus, to function. The energy that was supposed to come from that meal, gone, replaced by a deep, almost sedating fatigue that makes you want to lie down instead of live your life. And you have been told the same things on repeat. Eat slower, take a probiotic, try apple cider vinegar, cut out gluten. Here is the myth that is costing you your health. The problem is not what you are eating, at least not entirely. The real problem is what is happening inside your gut, hour by hour, in the 4 hours after that food disappears down your throat. A biological chain reaction so precise, so layered, and so frequently derailed in modern humans that researchers are now identifying gut dysfunction as a primary driver of fatigue, chronic inflammation, mood instability, and metabolic breakdown. We are going hour by hour, 0 to 4 hours, inside your gut, and by the end of this, the bloating, the crashes, the fog, they will finally make complete biological sense. If you want the hidden science of the human body, not generic health advice, hit subscribe. Now, let's dive in. Hour 1. The controlled demolition.
The second food enters your stomach, your body stops being passive. It goes to war. And the first weapon it reaches for is hydrochloric acid, HCl. Think of HCl as your stomach's industrial pressure washer. It blasts into the incoming food, obliterating proteins at the molecular level, sterilizing the billions of microorganisms that hitched a ride on your meal, and creating an environment so chemically hostile that most pathogens simply cannot survive it. But here is the mechanism that most people, and honestly most generic health content, completely miss. Before that acid fires, your stomach releases a hormone called gastrin. Think of gastrin as the dispatcher at a fire station. The moment food arrives, gastrin picks up the phone, calls the crew, and tells them exactly how hard and how fast to respond. It signals your stomach's parietal cells, specialized acid-producing factories embedded in the stomach lining, to open the floodgates. When this dispatcher system is disrupted, and in a staggering number of people it is, through chronic stress, long-term use of proton pump inhibitors, or simply aging, this is a primary driver of that dense, immovable heaviness that sits in your upper stomach 45 minutes after eating. Food that isn't being properly acidified doesn't break down cleanly. It sits, it ferments, it produces gas, and you feel every bit of it. Now, simultaneously, your stomach begins a rhythmic muscular squeezing called peristalsis. Picture a tube of toothpaste being slowly and methodically rolled from the bottom upward. Those muscular waves churn your food into a semi-liquid paste that scientists call chyme, one of the most consequential and underappreciated substances in your entire biology. Over the course of hour 1, your stomach is essentially acting as a high-security mixing chamber, acidifying, churning, and precisely calibrating this chyme for the most complex and fragile passage in your digestive system, the small intestine. That handoff is coming, and it will determine almost everything about how you feel for the next 3 hours.
But while your stomach works, something else is already happening in your bloodstream. The fast digesting carbohydrates from your meal are breaking down into glucose and flooding your blood. Your pancreas is detecting this glucose spike and firing insulin in response. And this blood sugar arc that begins in hour 1 will reach a critical turning point you need to understand before we reach hour 2. The command center takes over. The chime has been cleared, the stomach has done its part. And now that semi-liquid food paste pushes through a small but extraordinarily important muscular valve, the pyloric sphincter. Think of the pyloric sphincter as a nightclub bouncer with very specific standards. It will only allow chyme through when it meets precise requirements, the right acidity, the right texture, the right volume. Too large a rush and the small intestine gets flooded and overwhelmed. Too slow and you get that nauseating lead weight sensation that can linger for hours after a meal. The moment chyme crosses into the small intestine, it triggers the release of 2 of the most powerful hormones in your entire digestive cascade, CCK, cholecystokinin, and secretin. Think of CCK as the foreman on a high-stakes construction site. It simultaneously signals your pancreas to flood the digestive field with enzymes, proteases for protein, lipases for fat, amylase for carbohydrates, and tells your gallbladder to squeeze out a concentrated stream of bile to emulsify dietary fat. Without this signal firing correctly, fat digestion stalls entirely. Think of secretin as the safety inspector working alongside that foreman. Its job is to neutralize the extreme acidity of the incoming chyme, because if the small intestine is exposed to that level of acid without protection, the intestinal lining sustains direct chemical damage. When CCK signaling is impaired, which research increasingly links to diets chronically dominated by ultra-processed fats and refined sugars, this is a primary driver of that specific, cramping, distended bloating that typically arrives somewhere between 60 and 90 minutes after eating. Fat digestion is backed up, bile is not flowing, the system is gridlocked, and you feel that gridlock as physical pain. Now, here is the moment in hour 2 that most people never hear about, and it may be the single most important structural fact about your body. Your small intestine is lined with microscopic finger-like projections called villi, and on those villi are even smaller projections called microvilli. Together, they form what scientists call the brush border. If you could somehow unfold the entire surface of your small intestine, every single villus, every microvillus, it would cover approximately half a tennis court inside your abdomen. This surface is where the actual transfer of life happens. Amino acids, fatty acids, glucose, fat-soluble vitamins, they are being pulled across this brush border and into your bloodstream right now at hour 2, feeding every cell in your body. But here's the detail that changes everything. That brush border, that half tennis court of absorptive surface, is sealed by a wall that is only one single cell thick, one cell, between the contents of your gut and your systemic bloodstream. Those cells are held together by proteins called tight junctions. Think of tight junctions as the molecular Velcro keeping that wall sealed and selectively permeable. When those tight junctions degrade, a condition researchers describe as increased intestinal permeability and that some are beginning to call leaky gut, it can become a significant driver of systemic inflammation, unpredictable food sensitivities, persistent skin conditions, and that specific brand of whole-body fatigue that no amount of sleep seems to fully resolve. This mechanism is activating and consolidating throughout hour 2, but its downstream consequences are going to reach their most visible, most felt peak in hour 3, and that is where the story gets genuinely strange.
2 hours in, the small intestine is still absorbing. The microbiome is beginning to stir, and something is happening that has almost nothing to do with digestion and everything to do with how you feel, think, and experience the world for the rest of your afternoon. Your gut houses a network of over 500 million neurons embedded directly into its lining. Scientists call this the enteric nervous system, but the more accurate metaphor is this. Think of it as an autonomous air traffic control tower running the entire digestive operation with zero instructions from your brain. It doesn't need your conscious mind. It doesn't need your permission. It simply operates. This second brain communicates upward through the vagus nerve, a direct fiber optic cable running from your gut to your brainstem. And here is the detail that rewires how you think about your own mind. Over 90% of the signals traveling on that cable move upward from gut to brain, not the other way around. Your mood at hour 3 is substantially being constructed in your intestine. The neurotransmitter serotonin, the molecule most associated with calm, focus, optimism, and emotional stability, approximately 90 to 95% of your body's total supply is manufactured inside your gut, not your brain, your gut, by specialized cells in the intestinal lining, responding in part to the signals being sent by your microbiome, that vast living ecosystem of trillions of bacteria, fungi, and archaea that researchers now liken to a rainforest in terms of its complexity and its fragility. When that microbiome ecosystem is imbalanced, a state called dysbiosis, frequently driven by antibiotic overuse, ultra-processed diets, and chronic sleep deprivation, serotonin production can be significantly impaired. And this is a primary driver of that specific post-meal mood drop, the irritability, the low-grade anxiety, the emotional flatness that descends 2 to 3 hours after eating and feels completely disconnected from anything logical. And now, the mechanism that will reframe how you think about snacking forever.
At hour 3, in the gaps between meals, your small intestine is supposed to activate a sweeping rhythmic contraction cycle called the migrating motor complex, the MMC. Think of the MMC as the overnight cleaning crew in a shopping mall. When the shoppers are gone and the stores are closed, the crew comes out, sweeps the floors, removes the debris, and prepares the space for the next day. The MMC does this for your gut, sweeping residual bacteria, undigested particles, and cellular waste forward through the intestine and into the colon where it belongs. But the MMC only activates in a fasted state. The second you consume anything, even a handful of nuts, even a glass of juice, the cleaning crew packs up and goes home. The debris stays. And when this cycle is chronically interrupted by constant snacking, the bacterial overgrowth that accumulates in the small intestine is now recognized as a primary mechanism behind SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which produces the relentless treatment-resistant bloating that absolutely no probiotic alone will resolve.
Hour 4, the handoff and the reset signal.
By hour 4, the final remnants of your meal are transitioning from the small intestine into the large intestine, the colon. Think of the colon as a city's water reclamation facility. Its primary job is to reclaim the last of the water and electrolytes from what remains, compact the residual waste, and hand it off for elimination. But something far more metabolically significant is happening simultaneously. Your gut microbiome is now fermenting the dietary fiber that your enzymes were unable to break down. And this fermentation produces a family of molecules called short-chain fatty acids, specifically butyrate, propionate, and acetate. Think of butyrate as premium jet fuel specifically engineered for your gut lining cells. It is the primary energy source for colonocytes, the cells lining your colon, and it carries potent anti-inflammatory properties that researchers are actively studying for its role in metabolic health, insulin sensitivity, and neurological protection.
When dietary fiber is chronically low, and in most Western populations it sits at roughly half the recommended daily intake, butyrate production can be severely impaired, which is associated with increased colonic inflammation, disrupted bowel regularity, and a gradual degradation of the gut lining that compounds over years. And here is the final signal that closes the 4-hour loop and explains something you may have experienced your entire life without understanding. At hour 4, 2 hormones are recalibrating: leptin and ghrelin. Think of leptin as your body's "we're fully stocked" broadcast signal. It tells your brain that energy reserves are sufficient and hunger is unnecessary. Think of ghrelin as the alarm clock for your appetite. It rings when fuel is genuinely running low. When digestion runs cleanly and nutrient absorption is optimal, these 2 hormones operate in a balanced rhythm. But when gut dysfunction impairs nutrient absorption, when the brush border is compromised, when enzymes are insufficient, when the microbiome is dysbiotic, ghrelin can misfire at hour 4, sending urgent hunger signals to a brain that already received a full meal. This is not a willpower failure. This is not emotional eating. It is a broken biological signal, and it is one of the most under-recognized drivers of overeating and unexplained weight gain in modern life. Which means the solution was never about finding the right supplement or eliminating the right food group. You need to restore the biological signals your gut has been trying to send correctly all along. Here is exactly how we do that. Step 1. Prime the dispatcher before the meal. Quick note, please consult your doctor before making significant changes to your diet or health routine. This framework is designed to support healthy digestive biology, not to diagnose or treat any medical condition. Your gastrin and stomach acid system, your dispatcher, needs to be activated before food arrives, not after. Chronic stress suppresses gastric acid production by triggering cortisol, which blunts gastrin signaling. Implement a 2-minute pre-meal vagal activation, slow diaphragmatic breathing, 4 seconds in and 6 seconds out for 2 full minutes before your largest meal. This shifts your nervous system from sympathetic, fight or flight, to parasympathetic, rest and digest, and measurably primes your stomach's acid-producing machinery. This single habit can significantly reduce that hour 1 heaviness within days. Step 2. Seal the single-cell wall. Target the tight junctions of your brush border with deliberate nutritional strategy. Zinc, found in pumpkin seeds, oysters, and grass-fed beef, is one of the most clinically supported nutrients for maintaining intestinal tight junction integrity. Glycine, abundant in bone broth and collagen-rich foods, supports the mucosal lining that sits above that single-cell wall. Simultaneously, reduce your exposure to chronic gut irritants, refined seed oils and ultra-processed foods, which emerging research associates with increased intestinal permeability, and eating in a distracted or stressed state, which demonstrably reduces digestive enzyme output.
Step 3. Feed the rainforest. Protect the cleaning crew.
2 actions working in parallel. First, diversify your fiber intake with a target of 30 different plant varieties per week. Not servings, varieties. Data from the American Gut Project found this is one of the strongest single predictors of microbiome diversity, which directly correlates with butyrate production and serotonin synthesis. Add resistant starch specifically, slightly cooled cooked rice, cooled potatoes, unripe banana, as it bypasses small intestine digestion entirely and arrives in the colon as direct butyrate fuel. Second, protect your MMC by maintaining a minimum 4 to 5 hour eating window between meals. No snacking, water only. This gives your intestinal cleaning crew enough time to complete its full sweeping cycle, which is one of the most evidence-supported interventions for reducing the bacterial overgrowth associated with chronic bloating. Step 4. Anchor your hour 4 hunger signal. To prevent the ghrelin misfire at hour 4, your meals need to be nutritionally complete enough to genuinely satisfy leptin's broadcast signal. That means pairing complex fiber with adequate protein, a minimum of 25 to 30 grams per meal at every sitting. Protein is the single strongest activator of satiety hormones, including both CCK and peptide YY, and research consistently shows that protein-adequate meals can significantly reduce the false hunger signals that arrive 3 to 4 hours post-meal. Stop blaming your willpower, start engineering your plate. Your gut processes somewhere between 30 and 40 tons of food across a lifetime. It manufactures 95% of your serotonin. It runs an autonomous nervous system of 500 million neurons. It makes decisions about your inflammation, your immunity, your mood, and your energy hour by hour, every single day. It is not a passive tube. It is the most complex, underestimated biological system in your body. And now you understand exactly what it is doing, and exactly what happens when it starts to break down.
The bloating is not random. The fog is not weakness. The crashes are not inevitable. They are signals. And now you can read them. I want to know something specific from you. Drop it in the comments right now. What is the single gut symptom that is most disrupting your daily life? Is it the bloating, the afternoon brain fog, the energy crash, the irregular digestion, or something else entirely? Tell me below. Every comment shapes what we make next, and you might just see your exact symptom become the next video. If this gave you something real, share it with one person who has been told their symptoms are just stress or just aging, because they deserve to know the actual science. See you in the next one.